Hi, Christina here, and today I'm going to take you through the resources that we use for our mini unit on Quebec, which we recently finished. Now we have 5 children. They're currently 10, 8, 7, 4, and 1. So that's 5th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, preschool, and then the baby. We're studying Canada for the entire year, pretty much across all subjects, but we're going province by territory across the country in order to focus on mainly social studies, geography, and art. So all the units are kind of set up the same way. We start everything based off of the provincial or territorial book from the Canada Close-Up series. This is for about 5 to 9-year-olds. I'll show you what that looks like inside. It's a good mix of writing and pictures, and each kind of chapter in here isn't too long. So this is a good book. And then my children have binders set up for the year with some additional reading and worksheets that are taken from this series here. This is Apple Press's Exploring Canada's Geography, and this is for grades 4 through 6. So this is kind of one of the ways that we make it work family school style, is using resources for different ages. Now, I did find one issue with the Quebec one, which I'll show you when I show you their binders, but otherwise, this is a good resource here. And then we're also using this series here, Canadian Sights and Symbols, just because it had a little bit more, kind of some different information, that the other books don't have, that I like to include. So you can kind of see there, it's very similar setup, a good balance of kind of pictures and reading for younger children. And then because we're also, like, there's just so much crossover between subjects, we're also reading books that take place in each region as we study it. So the first read aloud we did was Lost in the Snow from the Canadian Flyer series, and we have been reading most of the series through the year. This has to do with the King's Daughters, and mixed feelings about this one. I felt like it could have used a lot more depth to it. It was kind of more of a younger story rather than an educational kind of thing, but it was okay. Short book. That's what it looks like. There's some pictures. Short, quick read. And then the second read aloud we did was this book here, The Broken Blade by William Durbin. Now this book is recommended for ages 10 and up. I think after reading it though, I would say it's more like 13 or 14 and up. There is some violence, there's some very descriptive things in here. Probably true to the lifestyle of the Voyagers, but use your discretion. So I'll show you what it looks like inside. And so this book isn't completely just in Quebec. They start in Quebec. I'll show you a little map here. And they go all the way to Portage-la-Prairie across, so, and back. And there is a sequel to this book as well, if you're interested, called Wintering. But it was an okay read, just maybe preview it for your kids or for older children for sure. And then my children do independent reading. So my 7-year-old, he read this book. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name because I don't think I can say that. But it's by Squaama Maisi Joe. I hope I'm saying that right. I'll show you what it looks like. Now again, this is about trading furs and canoeing and such, and so it doesn't specifically say it takes place in Quebec, but I felt like this was a good time to include this, especially as we were doing the Voyager book. So he read this book and he said he liked it. It's quite a quick short read. And then he read this one, which is the Screech Owl series, and it's their Northern Adventure, and he said it was good. He enjoyed it. I'll show you what it looks like. He's kind of into these adventure books right now, so he said he liked that. And then my 8-year-old, he also read this one here. And then he read this book here, I Am Canada, Storm the Fortress, The Siege of Quebec, William Jenkins, New France, 1759. So this is more of a historical one. There's some pictures in the back, sketches, and then the writing looks like that. And he said it was okay. And then my 10-year-old, he also read this book, and he really liked it actually. He said it was quite good. He read it quite quickly too. He really enjoyed it. So that was that one. And then my 10-year-old also read this one, Marie Claire from Our Canadian Girl. And it's actually a series of stories in here. And he read these and he said it was okay. Again, I've talked before, if you see my other videos about it, sometimes it's hard to find books where the main characters are male. A lot of the historical fiction have females, which is interesting, and like the Dear Canada series. So he said it was okay. And then we read this one here, The Flying Canoe, retold by Roche Carrier. I hope I'm saying that right. So this is a French-Canadian folktale. It's quite famous, actually. There's a number of books about it, but this is one that we read. And so I'll show you pictures. Again, it just went along with the Voyagers that we talked about and read about. So that's that. And then children watched this movie here, Travel Scope, Joseph Rosendo's, I think, and it's Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Bonjour, Montreal. Now, I actually didn't watch this with them. I was off doing something else, but they said it was okay. It was nice to kind of see what it looked like and just be familiar with the area. So there's that one. And then for our art, we did Cornelius Craigoff, and this is a Scholastic Canada biography series. This is Canadian artists. We've been using this series throughout the year for the little biographies, and this one is about Craigoff in the beginning. He was really well known for creating everyday kind of scenes in Quebec. He wasn't very popular, sometimes showing people, you know, out partying and having a good time, and kind of the real life. But he was really well known for that. So we read about him in here, and I have some other books I'll show you in a minute about him as well and his art. Now, for the art project, while I'm filming this, we haven't finished it yet, but I will insert a picture when I'm done talking so you can see what it looks like. But it's a scene about a sugar shack and maple syrup collecting and just kind of the whole maple syrup theme. So I'll insert a picture now so that you can see the finished product. So one other thing that we did was we did attend our local Maple Sugar Festival put on by a French society. And I will link the video up above so that you can see that. And it was quite an experience just because we had such bad weather. We didn't get to go through everything. It was a little disappointing, but it was also, they had a good time and they got to experience some things. So that was the field trip that we did for this unit. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the camera around, I'll give you a look at their binders, and then I'll show you all the extra books and that we have on hand, because we like to have extra books for our children just to pick up on the subject. So I will turn that around now. So here's an overview of the kids' binders. So this is my 4-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, and 10-year-old. And you'll see as I go through, I just kind of add more sheets in reading the older the kids are. Now my 4-year-old does not want to be left out, so she always starts with a map of what we're studying, just to become more familiar with what it looks like. And then I give her a coloring page each day, so you can just kind of see what hers is like. She added some of her own pages. She was copying the writing on here. She was doing some cutting out and coloring. And that's just what her binder looks like. And she can just do whatever she wants while we read, and she just listens. So for my second grader, these are some of what those Apple Press sheets look like. Now I did find that this was a mistake. Everything that, all the other books we used, the resources, they all said the provincial flower was the blue flag iris, which I have here from our map. So I'm not sure why this one is wrong, but that's the only mistake we found in here so far. So you can see it covers quite a wide variety. So there's different geographic regions, First Nation, history, social studies, resources. This is about making maple syrup. Word search, getting to know kind of what it looks like and the names. And then we always end with a map where they try and kind of fill in the cities that they can. And then there's a quiz as well that they do. And then at the end they have notes. And because we only have, I believe, 4 more units after this one, my son has started to take some notes as well with the older boys. So that's what his looks like. I'll show you what my 8-year-old look like. So very similar. He just has a few extra pages in here. So history, more about resources. Quebec food. There's quite a few foods that Quebec is famous for. Well, here you go. You can see his quiz, his maps, and his notes here at the end. So that's his binder. I'll go back and show you here now my 10-year-olds. You can hear my 18-month-old behind me. So again, adding just a few more sheets in about the different regions, the St. Lawrence Valley. Building a wigwam. Here's about the farmhouses, and again onto the resources. So they would do anywhere from 1 to about 3 sheets a day, and we spend 6 days usually doing this, and then the 7th day we do our art. So the climate, there's the cities, the quiz, and then he has his notes over here. So there you go. That is what their binder looks like for the kids for our Quebec unit. So now I'll take you through the extra books that we had on hand just so the kids could pick them up and look at them if they wanted to. So this is from the Dear Canada series with Nothing But Our Courage, the Loyalist Diary of Mary Macdonald, Johnstown, Quebec, 1783. Just give you a quick look at what that looks like inside. This is a great series if you're looking for historical fiction in Canada. This is from the Canada Close-Up series as well. This is Canadian Celebrations, and it has in here about Carnival. There's a section in there, so we have that book as well. This is Quebec, the Story of 3 Sieges and Military History. This is kind of for an older child, but it is an interesting history. All the wars and such that happened in Quebec and how many times that the city's passed hands or changed hands. This one is Ice Storm by Penny Draper. This is part of a disaster series. That's what it looks like inside. This is Tragic Links by Kathy Beveridge. And she also is it's part of a disaster series in Canada as well. This one here is another Dear Canada, Prisoners in the Promised Land, the Ukrainian internment diary of Anya Solonuk, Spirit Lake, Quebec, 1914. And again, it's set up in the same way. There's usually pictures in the back, and then it's in a journal format, but it is not actual journal. It is fiction. This is The Lost Diaries of Susanna Moody. It's a novel. And it's written in diary form as well. You can kind of see there. This is Summer in the City by Marie-Louise Gay and David Hummel. You can see what that looks like there. So not too hard of a read. A few pictures mixed in there as well. Then we had this book here. We've been using this series as well, just entitled Quebec. And again, it's just a very simple introduction, generic or simple information, I guess I should say, about the province. Lots of pictures. There you go. This one is The Red Sash. This is a book for younger children. Again, about the voyagers. It's such a big part of life in early Quebec. And then this is a series we've been using throughout the year as well, the Canadian Aboriginal Art and Culture series. This is the Métis one. And then we had the Cree. And they're all set up in the same way. And then I had another one here. Inuit for the northern part of Quebec, because of course First Nations did not adhere to our political lines of today, right? Multiple provinces and such. Similarly, we have the Canadian geographic regions, the Canadian Shield. Again, it's not just limited to one province. So we've had this book before. There's a series of videos as well that are really good. We didn't watch one this time, but it's a really good series as well about the different geographical regions in Canada. This is, again, the same series, the St. Lawrence Lowlands. And it's set up the same way. This is Native Nations of the Arctic and Subarctic. And again, we've had this one for a few units before. You can see what it looks like. Very simple reading, pictures as well. Let's pull this pile here. So this is Canada's Natives Long Ago by Donna Ward. We've been going through this book. We didn't read from it this time, but we have been using it and we have it on hand always. So let's see what that one looks like. This is Canadian Pioneers, and this has Craig Off in it. So we've got some art books, but it has other artists in it too. You can see just the artwork and a little bit of information there. Same with this one here. Embracing Canada, Landscapes from Craig Off to the Group of 7. Again, there's multiple artists in here, but Craig Off was here included in it as well. Quite a big book. This one is Legends of Quebec from the Land of the Golden Dog by Hazel Boswell. And it's an older book, and it just has legends and folk tales in it. Some pictures there. So then I have this book here. It's an older book. There's nothing on the front, but it's The Magic Fiddler and Other Legends of French Canada. And again, it's just legends and folk tales in here. There's some pictures. There we go. And then this one is Quebec 1850 to 1950. And this is a thick book with lots of pictures and images, just showing how life has changed in the province. Just interesting to see real people in here. So those are all the books that we used. So there you go. Those are the resources that we used for our mini unit on Quebec. Now we did try 2 French-Canadian foods just to add some fun to the unit. The first was poutine, or our version of it. And the second was a meat pie called tortilla, and hopefully I'm saying that right. Both of these were really delicious, and again, that was just fun to add into the unit. If I've missed anything, if you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will try to answer them for you. If this has been useful to you, please hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise though, I hope you're having a great day. Take care.